Portugal, there's a YouTube show.
That's interesting. Hola, bon dia, alegria. Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, a live stream and a podcast. And the intro tune. Let me just play that again. Let's do things properly.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show.
Okay, we'll go with that's all we've got. The other part of the intro, it usually invites you to join us at the Portugal Club, where of course we've got a Storm Kristin thread to keep in touch outside of showtime. If you've got anything to add over there, of course I'll put the link to that in the chat. But yes, okay, just half an intro this morning. Let's go with that. Continuing to show up on every weekday, well, every day, every morning, every day. For the foreseeable future, while the calamity or state of calamity continues here in Portugal, in many districts, municipalities. Actually, municipalities, there is a difference. So I think it was the last numbers I saw had about 70 municipalities in the or under the state of calamity. And I notice we've got orange weather alert across 7 districts as well this morning. That's the overview state of play. We'll look at the news headlines from the English-speaking news sources and take a deeper look via Portugal Weekly this morning. And of course, check in with you, see how you're doing wherever you are, and extend the tentacles across the community to make sure everybody's okay. Thank you very much, T-Duck. Look, member for 35 months. Woohoo! Much appreciated. Thank you for being here this morning as well, T-Duck. We've got Matty as well. Bom dia, alegria a todos e feliz terça-feira. Chris is here as well, reporting in from the UK. Cold and windy in London, it would appear, and asking how it was last night in Portugal. Morning, Chris. It was pretty dark. I don't think that's what he means. Hit the like button, folks. Matty's urging you to do. Andy's here as well. Hola, bon dia, Malta. How's it going? Coach Turner. Hola, bon dia. How was the skiing? You're fully recovered from that. With Benziniz. Hola, bon dia, todos e feliz terça. How is everyone today? Hope you're recovering from the storm and battling down the hatches for the next one. That's the thing, isn't it? We're going into Leonardo now. That hits in earnest, so to speak, to mix up all those male names there. That's quite the image, isn't it? Leonardo hitting earnest or hitting in earnest later on this afternoon with you all in spirit, if not in body. And yes, that I can hear it lashing onto the roof skylight at the moment. There are, of course, probably better Leonardo DiCaprio memes than this at the moment. But yeah, this is what's happening. Not the one we don't want to see the one where he's cheersing us, do we? Holding up his cocktail. Yes, that is rain, Leonardo. So Storm Leonardo, a little bit more about that as well that I can report to you from the Safe Communities Portugal Facebook page as well this morning. Morning to you, Gemini, and from Gary as well. All checking in. Thank you so much for being here this morning at 8:05 on the 3rd of February 2026, where we're expecting rain. It would appear for the next, well, some people are saying for the rest of February. A lady in a shop when I went to order some gas yesterday, and flexing my Portuguese I was yesterday, and another level it felt like achieved yesterday, ordering the gas and trying to buy one of those 2-ring barbecue cookers, gas rings in Preparedness. A good linguistic exchange, but she was saying definitely the rain's continuing for the rest of the week, and we're only into Tuesday so far. And just the general, but the lady before me, who I knew, Madame Godinho, who's a little bit of a celeb in the town, they were having quite the conversation. That I wasn't eavesdropping and being rude; they were drawing me into it from time to time. But it was fascinating to hear them talking about the weather and the situation yesterday. What are your Portuguese neighbours and Portuguese folks in your community telling you, or what are you overhearing at the moment as your Portuguese improves? Storm Leonardo, yes, and maybe this time, yes, we want a Da Vinci, don't we? Not a DiCaprio. It's very good. I see what you did there, Matty. Very good. Yes, wrong choice of meme, perhaps. Wrong choice of meme image this morning. A Da Vinci would be better put to use than a DiCaprio. Excellent. Okay. You're keeping our spirits up here. We know people are still suffering and struggling around the country. People do need help for sure. Watch out for those appeals on your local WhatsApp groups and so on. The WhatsApp grapevine here for San Martino de Porto doing us proud. Offers of help, ways to get involved, people needing things. A lovely offer from Orca Co-work actually over the bay in Salida de Porto. If you haven't got anywhere to work, Claire made an offer yesterday. You can go and join Orca Co-work over in Salida de Porto. So the community pulling together very nicely, as we were last night for the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club. Thank you to Pete and Diane and to Johnny Cocktail for turning up. It was difficult for other members for obvious reasons. Either they had a power and no internet, or vice versa, or weren't able to join us for one reason or another. So, and I'm thinking that wine club started during the pandemic, where it was really important to connect and let off a bit of steam every now and then and socialize. And it was weekly. We tried a different Portuguese wine every week. We might have to go back to doing that, an evening social for checking in, letting your hair down if you've got any, and letting off steam as well, getting things off your chest and having a little bit of a drink and rest and recuperation together on online social, where we're definitely being urged to stay indoors again, aren't we? Which is quite right, of course. Don't go wandering too far. Very risky, certainly near the cliff edges at the moment. Big waves incoming, lots of rain, hailstorms I noticed as well. The Portuguese shared some video of some hail in central Portugal, down in the Algarve, hailstorms as well. So be careful. Go out if you absolutely have to. And it's, yeah, it's that cabin fever thing, isn't it? It's nice to get out. I've got a couple of dogs I walk, and it was lovely to get out yesterday with the dogs, just to go around the block after what feels like weeks of being indoors inside a damp concrete edifice, and keeping the home fires burning, of course, to moderate that feeling. Staring into the flames for a little while is quite a good way, isn't it, of undiscombobulating right now. Good morning to you, Sarah, as well. Good to see you. And to Neil, thank you for joining us. Bon dia from a very wet Murganheira, which is an area, in case you're new to the show, you're seeing this later on, tuning in from around the world. A Murganheira is an area. It's not a part of the anatomy, but who are we to judge? Right, let's take a look at the front pages then, and a little bit more detailed news from Portugal Weekly. Jorge Branco, of course, they're doing a great job. Portugal Decoded and Jorge Branco doing a great job. Do support them on Substack, reliable news sources, and one-man bands, I think. I'm not sure entirely, but yeah, two small operations definitely are trying to get good, decent quality news out without too much hyperbole. First of all, going to the Portugal Resident this morning, seeing what's going on, and dare I say it, from the Algarve POV, where both the Portugal News and Portugal Resident are based, it looks like things are returning to normal, which I guess they are in the Algarve, to be fair. However, for the rest of the country, it's somewhat different. So you have to dig a little deeper to find some of the news about the storm. PS Socialists proposed storm recovery plan up to 6 months of situation of calamity. Just in case you are in it, and I'm glad for you if you are in a part of Portugal where you're not feeling the effects so much at the moment, just to let you know that things are remaining pretty difficult for some people around the country. And Pete's theory on this last night, Pete Bleach's theory, was that we have many microclimates. So that's how people were affected very differently, even within the same district or part of the country. People were affected very differently. You have people who lose their entire roof in some parts of the country, which is going to take a lot of recovering from. That's not going to be put right in the way that your internet's coming back on or your electricity is coming back on. And that said, there are still many thousands of people without electricity. When I went to buy my gas yesterday, order a new gas bottle, their computer system wasn't working. They had to take my order manually. Their POS machine, is that what they called? The electric to the credit card reader system was unaffected. They were able to charge that bad boy up. A fair play to them. I thought I was going to have to go and get some cash, but their card reader was working, but they didn't have their computer system, which normally tells them where I live and so on, just by me giving them my name or NIF. So electricity out still in many places, and internet for some reason still remaining sticky and difficult for people. So spare a thought for those people, even if your life is returning to normal, as would be as it looks like it's reflected actually on the front page of the Resident and the Portugal News. So PS Socialists propose storm recovery plan up to 6 months of the situation of calamity. Whilst new protected status for rare ecosystems in Lulé, bigger picture, longer term, Algarve closes 25 with record tourism results. I wonder how this will affect tourism. It's going to affect small businesses. We talked about that last night on the wine club as well. We really must support our local businesses if we want them to stay in business. This sort of thing can just knock a business out. To give you an example, our favoured and much loved cafe where we have our weekly meetup here in San Martino, they lost their awning where we've sat and where we've broadcasted AT-Duck in the best of times. That awning blew away in Kristin, and I think that the estimate is 6 or 7 grand to replace that. That's the sort of thing that can take a small business out, whilst the bigger businesses, the corporate ones, are able to take that in their stride in a way, and they've got the momentum and ballast to survive such things in a way that a small cafe or business serving the community might not be able to do. And I know here in San Martino there is a fund, a GoFundMe, which is specifically to help out the small businesses, and I know some of you have donated to that already as well. Back to the Resident then. So yeah, 6 months of situation of calamity, a massive crane. I don't know if you saw those pictures. I've been watching more Portuguese TV news. Massive crane collapses onto 6 homes in 3 streets in Figueira da Foz. That was very dramatic footage. Good news that the armed forces are being deployed. More than 1,000 soldiers are supporting populations, and we've seen them on roofs, tarping roofs and helping repair roofs and so on. Be careful. That's definitely a risk as well, making repairs to your own roof. And of course, the continued concern about using generators indoors. Be careful with that. Just sent a feel-good vid and a picture from last week. Thanks, Coach. We'll go with that. GoFundMe is a really bad choice, as the GoFundMe takes a lot of the donated money, leaving a lot less for the cause people are donating for. Well, yep, okay, fair enough, but better than nothing. And that was something that the San Martino de Porto Traders Association did, and were very successful, met their target very quickly. Cheers, Coach, for your pictures on 913-590-303. And life goes on. Look, Spanish pianist Salvador Sanchez to perform in the Algarve, whilst Victims Association accused government of slow, insufficient and distant response to storm devastation, as you might expect. I don't think anyone would be surprised to hear that. Even if it's undue and unfair in some circumstances where the government's clearly stepping in and doing their best to help people, but that's not going to reach everybody in the way that they might wish for. Alcava Dam continues with controlled discharges due to high inflow. Very impressive to see the water being let out of the dams now. Not a situation you'd expect you might have ever expected to hear about in Portugal. Water being released from barragens, from the reservoirs, from the dams, and that's what they're doing. Controlled release of water rather than the more familiar hope and prayers for more water to fill almost empty reservoirs. How things can change within a year or two, basically, on that. And some very impressive pictures and video of water being let out of the dams that you may see on social media and traditional media. Let's go to the Portugal news as well then. And whilst we do so, have a little cup of tea, a little sip of tea. Quick scroll there then. And yeah, I get in here. It looks like, life has moved on. Does the Portuguese pension cover retirement? Historical figures of Portugal, the Marcos de Pombal being spoken about there. And you'd think, wouldn't you, the Marcos de Pombal would be spinning in his grave in anticipation of rebuilding after. He's like, call that a disaster. I dealt with the earthquake, says the Marcos de Pombal. And you can see the monument in his honor, rebuilding Lisbon, of course, after the earthquake and fire and disease that ensued after the earthquake. Albufeira promotes Algarve, what looks like a tourism event there. And Fidelidad have opened up a new HQ in Lisbon, it would appear. Leria to provide, going back to Kristin, Leria providing psychological support. Quite the impact, I guess. Well, no guessing about it. Quite the impact. What I'm guessing about is how people ask for the help and get the help. And it's great to see that psychological support being offered as well. It must be terrifying to see your roof just blowing off whilst you're inside or nearby. And for some people, they're going to need some help recovering from that. Sea warning extended as well, echoing the 7 districts under amber alert today as Storm Leonardo comes in. And Kristin related. What else have we got? Yeah, they're also reporting that the armed forces are helping people on the ground. 7 districts under orange alert. Let's take a deeper look then with the Portugal Weekly. Thank you very much, Portugal resident, Portugal News. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Henry. I think you just sent me something as well. So some video to be, is that to be shared publicly there, Henry? That looks like a view of a reservoir to me. May I share that publicly? Coach, thank you very much as well. Waiting for this message. Check. Oh, okay, it's coming now. Olympic flame handover. My goodness. Wasn't expecting to see that. So up on the ski slopes, the Olympic flame was handed over, and the 2 old gits at a coffee shop. That sounds like a podcast. Fantastic. I love that picture of you two. Fantastic. Well, towards the end of the transmission today, we can share those, can't we? Henry, let me know if that's for public consumption as well, if you will. And Olympic flame action as well here on the Good Morning Portugal show this morning. Extraordinary scenes. Very good. Thank you very much for that. Just adding that now. Thanks, Coach, for that. It must be difficult for many people like yourself with beloved Portugal, watching from a distance and trying to find out what's going on. Thanks for tuning in. We hope to help. If you're not in the country, if you've got a holiday home here, or if you're not here right now, we'll do our best to help and support and connect you to Portugal and your love of this place and the people. This wonderful country and its amazing people are doing pretty well under the circumstances, it has to be said, and no sign of their presidential election being cancelled this coming Sunday. Yes, what I also meant to show you earlier on is some of the best election campaigning. Oh, actually, before I go there, let me share with you how Manuel João Vieira, the candidate who's not in the running anymore, but he's always in the contest, it would appear, is a fixture. Most people have a sort of novelty candidate, don't they? Or most cultures have a novelty candidate. We always had the monster Raven Looney Party in the UK that would stand in the general election. We don't have a president, even though there is sometimes presidential behaviour. We have a royal family, but the least said about them, the better at the moment. Here in Portugal, Manuel João Vieira often rocks up as a presidential candidate. He's the one who was suggesting we have running wine, not running water, but running wine in the taps. And speaking after his, let's not call it a defeat, being overlooked towards more serious candidates, you might say, less frivolous. He's pushing back. What's this? Everyone talks about how bad alcohol, cigarettes and drugs are. But who do you go to in the moments of difficulty? A lettuce? A carrot? Probably not, to be fair to him. So there he is. That's a man too dangerous to have in the presidential seat, but an excellent man to add a little bit of contrast and light relief. I think you'll agree. So congratulations on another unsuccessful campaign there, Senor Vieira. Manuel, I think one of his names, is it Jolly as well? João Vieira. Excellent, fun, and a little bit of a thorn in the side of the establishment, I think. Which is much needed, of course. Whenever politics is taking itself too seriously, it's always good to have a character like him around. And yes, staying with politics for a moment, and I saw this. And what's your immediate thought if you've got access to your screen? What's your immediate thought when you see a couple of people with ladders climbing up against one of these Schäger posters, the controversial Schäger posters, which are very direct in their messaging? No, they're not tearing it down. They're not doing any graffiti. What's happening here, Andre Ventura tells us on X, we're removing billboards across the entire country to distribute tarpaulins for covering roofs and shelters. What a genius idea, if only from a political campaigning point of view. Right now, the most important thing is that our compatriots in the affected areas do not feel alone. Let's go, vamos embora, with this. So the posters are being taken down as used in tarpaulins. I wonder if the memo also suggested, make sure whenever you put the tarpaulins on that the images are facing outwards, okay? Make sure. Incredible. So there you go. That's the genius electioneering. Probably, I don't know who would have thought of that with inside the Shager camp. But if you are seeing that their big stretchy ads on tarps are being taken down or have been taken down, they haven't necessarily blown away in the wind or been taken down by opponents. You might see them repurposed elsewhere as a roof on your neighbor's house, and that could be for months now. So this morning's award for top presidential electioneering goes to right there. Okay, let's go look at the how the calamity situation has been extended, and 2.5 billion euros. Where's that coming from? I'm not to be churlish, of course. I'm just asking the question. I guess that's a European, a European drop, is it? It's all made up anyway. Just add a few noughts in the ledger, and get those zeros and digits spinning in all the bank accounts. What could possibly go wrong? Disaster extended, 2.5 billion in help after possible strongest storm ever. Just give you the headlines here. Don't want to steal his thunder. You look for yourself and subscribe to George Branco's Substack. But just some fantastic headlines here. He's got a habit of just getting right to the heart of the matter and reporting the important stuff with a little bit of light relief, as is traditional in news reporting. Disaster extended, 2.5 billion in help after possible strongest storm ever. Disaster situation sparked by Storm Kristin has been extended until February the 8th, as I think we know now. And look, expanded to encompass 60 municipalities across the country. Diario de Noticias reports. Prime Minister Luis Montenegro, a tough time for him, but he seems to be coping fairly well. It's water off a duck's back to him, isn't he? He's one of these kind of robotic leaders. Maybe that's what we need at the moment. People who aren't too emotionally challenged, or I was going to say emotionally intelligent. That's perhaps unfair, although it is a criticism that's being leveled at him. I think what you need to do is choke all that stuff down and start to talk like Keir Starmer does, who looks like he's trying to stop himself feeling anything at all. Prime Minister Luis Montenegro announced the extension on Sunday after consulting with mayors in the worst affected districts of Leiria, Coimbra and Santarém. Previously not covered council areas, including Alcácer de Sol, Aveiro and Ovar were added to the declaration. So if you're in those places, there's help coming your way. The government also announced 2.5 billion support package that includes up to 10 grand for uninsured owner occupiers to rebuild, and an initiative to help insurance companies can start assessing 80% of cases within 15 days. You see, that's looking like gold standard, 80% within 15 days. That's still a long time to wait, isn't it? If you're one of those people who needs help. Families who've lost income or are facing financial hardship can access 1,075 euros through Social Security, which we reported on yesterday. There's the PM having a little walk around the disaster zone. Where is he there? An undisclosed, but there he is out doing his job, finding out what's going on. Streets flooded, power out, destruction everywhere. The headline there, or the subheading from Portugal Weekly. And yeah, the clear up continues. Alcácer de Sol. I was only a few weeks ago, just before Christmas, showing beautiful pictures of their Christmas efforts at Alcácer de Sol. What a beautiful place. Alcácer de Sal of the Salt. Morning, John. Good to see you here as well. Morning Portugal. This is the link to Jorge Branco's Substack. Government criticised for poor planning and response. You would expect that, wouldn't you? How fair that is. I'm sure it is in part, but one of those unenviable positions, of course, where I suspect in many ways they can do no right or look completely good at the moment. I hope you didn't hear that. That was quite the cough this morning. More tea, Vicar. Definitely here. People getting busy, working more. Is that guttering going up, or is it a pump? Navy sailors affecting people used to wet conditions. Bulletproof response. National Emergency and Civil Protection Authority, the ANEPC, told Expresso the prevention work done before the storm was bulletproof and admitted the storm exposed fragilities. That's their way of looking at it from the ANEPC. And what's this here? Go for yourself to look at that. He often includes excellent multimedia as well. This interesting to me anyway. Presidential candidates split on government response. Could be the making or otherwise of them, couldn't it? How they're responding to this situation. How would you want your would-be president to respond? The two men vying to become president this Sunday had very different reactions to the government's assistance package. Expresso reporting here. Antonio José Seguro, who I've been forgetting his first names. There you go. Antonio José Seguro, Senor Seguro, I've been calling him, who's backed by the Socialist Party that's in opposition, said the Social Democrat Party government appeared to be heading in the right direction, offering some support there. So we can guess who's saying the opposite of that then. He said the important thing was for the aid to reach people rapidly without bureaucracy. Ventura, the leader, reported here as the far-right Chega Party was indignant with the limits on support to financially at-risk families, 337 euros per person or 1,075. Unless you're an immigrant, then you shouldn't have it, maybe, he's suggesting. I made that bit up. Calling Sunday one of the blackest days and biggest failures. Sunday, wasn't it last Wednesday? One of the blackest days and biggest failures in the history of this government. Seguro announced that his campaign would be donating 1,500 meters of material meant for billboards to be used as tarps, while Ventura said his party was taking down already erected boards for the same purpose. Okay, so well played. Not just the existing ads, but they're 1,500 meters of material being donated as well. This Senor Seguro, and they had their only debate watched by millions. So there's definitely an appetite for what they've got to say. Wondering if Leonardo, or whatever storm it will be by next Sunday, will affect Portuguese voting. What was the turnout? Was it about? It was about 50-50, wasn't it? I think a little bit less than 50% the turnout for the first presidential campaign, which has led to this runoff. This appropriately named runoff campaign this Sunday, the 8th of February. And the polls are predicting a huge win for Seguro. I think from the point of view of the country's nerves and vibration, if you like, energetically, it will be a calming result to have Seguro in the presidential position. If this is just my analysis, opinion, if Ventura wins, that's going to add to the febrile atmosphere, the difficulties, the challenges. It's going to add to uncertainty, and it's going to be spiky. It's going to be spiky if he becomes the president. However, it's looking like, I didn't know this actually. I didn't know what polls were saying, but polls predicting a huge win for Seguro. Almost twice as many voters say they'll vote for Seguro than Ventura on Sunday, according to Expresso and SIC. But we've heard this sort of thing before, have we not? We've heard, oh, that could never happen, or voting intentions before the election, and then media folks, the establishment, if you like, with their jaws dropping as the results start coming in with a very different conclusion. Who knows what could happen on Sunday? Yeah, we were talking about this last night. You know, we have precedents now, don't we? And presidents for in circumstances where it was said, oh, no, that could never happen. You can't say that with such certainty anymore, I would say. Closer look at Portugal's 1.5 million immigrants also reported on there. That makes for good reading. Not entirely related to Storm, or not in any way related to Storm Kristin, apart from those 1.5 million experiencing the effects and the aftermath, which we're talking about here every morning while the state of calamity continues. In brief, that's interesting to me as well. Lisbon police removing thousands of bicycles tied to posts. We see wonky old rusty bikes, don't we, tied to lampposts, and you could be forgiven for thinking, well, that should go, and they need to get their bolt cutters out and take that away, perhaps, because someone's forgotten about that or just dumped it after the wheels got nicked. But some cyclists are complaining of their bikes being taken the same day they're being locked up. Bit of an error on behalf of whoever's taking them away, probably the police there. Government wants to block under 16s from social media. This country wants to line up with that that policy that seems to be one of those things that's being rolled out around the world. Interesting, isn't it, when these things happen in lockstep across various countries, continents, civilizations. The government here wants to block under 16s from social media. That is such a thorny and difficult issue, which that simple headline, I think, cannot possibly expose the complexity of such a thing. I was talking to a mate of mine in the UK on Sunday, and we were thinking to ourselves, when we were under 16 or under 18 doing things that over 16s and over 18s did, we found a way to do that. I think this is another one of those crazy sort of trying to deal with a symptom of a much deeper problem. But anyway, let's see how that lands. Police checks on immigrants more than double, interestingly, as well. Those are some quite interesting and impressive figures there, whichever way you look at it, or alarming figures. On a lighter note, if you're into smoked meats, this is for you. Yes, the weather is impressively horrible, and that's a great turn of phrase, is it not, from George Branco? Impressively horrible, but February has one thing to offer beyond rain. Smoked meats, everyone, for fans of chorizo, alheira, linguiça, prosciutto, paio, and any of the other long list of ways Portugal has figured out to preserve mostly pork meat. This is the month for you. You can join the 80,000 in the smokehouse capital. Did you know there was a smokehouse capital here at the Feira de Fumeiro de Vinhais, a similarly named event in Ponta de Barca, the Festival de Sabores Mirandejas in Miranda do Douro, the Feira de Alheira in Mirandela, or several others. So this is the month for smoked meats, it would appear. And there will be a smoked meat fair event somewhere near you soon, it would appear. There's Senor Seguro's head. Let's take that off the screen now. Say a few more hellos this morning. We might just leave it there, just checking in, making sure everyone's okay. Update. Oh, what we haven't looked at actually is what Leonardo's up to. Always recommending just recently, and in any kind of challenge, disaster, the work of Safe Communities Portugal. And I'm actually trying to get what's his name? Sorry, I don't mean that to sound rude. I meant what's his name rather than what's his name. I'm looking to get Safe Communities Portugal's David Thomas for an interview sometime today, hopefully. Here's the excellent reporting then. Meteorological forecast, air temperature, wind speed, precipitation, snow, sea conditions for Tuesday, the 3rd of February, just issued half an hour ago. Still a yellow warning then for Faro, Beja, and Setúbal districts from 6 o'clock. So I've got rain at the moment and wind, and we had some downpours yesterday, but Leonardo still to come really in perhaps Leonardo's worst effects. Orange level, rough seas warning for all 10 coastal districts until midnight. That's today, and until 4th of February. So going into tomorrow, northwest waves will be 5 to 6 meters, potentially reaching a maximum of 11 meters. So some turbidity out in the sea there. IPMA yellow level wind warnings for Leiria, Lisbon, Faro, Beja, and Setúbal districts from 6 o'clock. Gusts of 70 to 80 kilometers per hour, especially on the coast, and up to 95 in the mountains. So still lots of rain and strong winds coming in later on today. That's the forecast anyway. Orange level snow warning for 7 districts. Guarda and Castelo Branco warning of snowfall as well. And a link there. Warnings may change throughout the next few hours. Actually, this has been one time where weather forecasting has been fairly accurate. But I suppose if anyone just said lots of rain and wind, they were going to be right at the moment. But the timing, the reporting of the timing of when Kristin was hit was eerily accurate, wasn't it? In a time where weather reporting can be pretty wonky, it has to be said. More images from Safe Communities Portugal there as well on their Facebook page, the link to which I will put in the chat as well, doing that for you now before we do a bit more checking in with the community this morning. If there's any appeals, any offers of help, any requests for help, make sure you get them in the chat as well. And do also stay tuned over at the Portugal Club, where, of course, it's free to join. That was the bit of the intro video that was missing this morning. I think I know what happened there. We've got an updated thread there, and also our growing list of resources. I ordered a crank handle radio yesterday. My observation about crank handle radios, I've got to say, is that none of them look particularly sturdily built. They look like things I used to see when I walked around with my dad at a car boot fair in the 1970s or 80s, or some street market. All very plasticky, looking like they wouldn't hold up very well. They're all very cheap, actually. They're all about 30 quid. There are better ones that don't look like they're available in Europe, American, better design, sturdier things. And they tend to have a solar panel on them, a torch, couple of torches. You can charge up your phone. You can crank handle charge. You can conventional battery charge, and you can charge it from a USB input as well. Worth having. And there are options for AM, FM, shortwave. Some of them even, I think, were DAB. But I was struggling to find one that I thought looked attractive or sturdy. But anyway, I purchased one of those, and I'll probably make a video of that, and maybe an unboxing video when that arrives. But it was 30 quid as a storm-proof and disaster-ready radio for AM and FM transmissions, and a useful torch and paperweight as well. But it looked pretty good, and some of them, they are off grid in terms of how you enable them, and some of them had an 18-hour life on the battery within as well. So that's pretty good. Sorry to miss our chat. Sorry to miss you too. Not prepared this morning. Yeah, I mean, we're all over the place, aren't we? Basically, if any of our regular co-hosts do want to come and comment from their part of the world or their part of their point of view, very welcome to do so. I imagine we'll be seeing more of that as the regular co-hosts rejoin us after this state of calamity, which we're doing our best to discover or to share with you each morning. GoFundMe. There was an optional 10% contribution to their operations on this particular donation. I think there's a slightly different structure for emergency funds, though not certain. Led by donkeys. I think I know what you're referring to there. Made it to Madrid. Well done, Dougie. Good to see you here on a grueling 11-hour flight despite complimentary seat upgrade. Yes, Douglas, North Wales is a long way from anywhere. Is that a Welsh saying? Boyo. Bon dia, Portugal from John. Thank you for being here, John. Sorry not to see you too this morning. Bon dia, Gumpers from Jackie. How you doing, Jackie? Was flying in from Brazil, not Bangor. A little further than Freli is far enough. Takes 2 hours to get to the nearest airport there. The Welshman having a bit of a chat in the chat. Bon dia. Yes, the house we were in has a multi-political tarp roof now. In the interest of political balance, have you got a PS and Shea tarpaulins? Although they were used by resourceful locals before they were thought to be donated as. Is that how it worked? People went and ripped down the Shaker tarps and used them anyway. And again, very resourceful though at Shaker HQ when the news came in. People are tearing down our tarps. Well, actually, that's not such a bad thing as long as they're exposing the picture of the beloved leader outwards. Now need to get to Quartera from Madrid, sleeper to Lisbon later today. Wow. Jet setter. Indeed, those similar from Fishguard to Cardiff Airport, there are very few planes fly from there, getting in and out of Wales. He needs to get from Brazil to Portugal on this particular occasion. Shagger, that's an interesting take. That's my kind of far right. I think you probably meant to write Shager. You've ended up writing Shagger on the screen there. None taken. The price we pay for our peace and quiet. What's that? Getting a sleeper. Just sent you something of historical interest if you would like to read and share. Thanks. Thank you for your historical contribution this morning. Yeah, let's take a look at that as well as your contribution other than in person this morning. Yes, Safe Communities is a great source of information. Agreed. And there you go. There's the link to it. Heavy rain at 7 this morning in Visio. Just a quick weather check from Hughes part of the country and a little local interest item from here in the north. Thank you for that, John. We'll come back to that. You get a handle on the cranks, though. You do. Is that a joke of some sort? Is that a dad joke, Dougie? You do get a handle, yeah. Otherwise, how do you crank it? And our continued congratulations to this lovely family. Lovely to see the news of a baby being born over there. Interesting circumstances. Bon dia todos. Lots of love to you, Simon, Fiona, and Poppy over there in the UK. Great news. Great news. Sorry, I don't know the name of the newbie. over there. Fantastic if you've decided on that yet. A little bit more then from Safe Communities Portugal. Yeah, severe weather, Navy assisted 92 people. There's a little bit of hailstorm action in Lagos, notably, and someone's slippers or their Crocs by the pool filled with hailstones, and a little bit of information about Leonardo. We've gone from Kristin to Leonardo alphabetically, of course. There is a more recent weather update than that one, so I won't give you that. I have given you the link to Safe Communities Portugal, formerly Safe Communities Algarve, hence SC Algarve there. Right, okay, let's see what we've got here. Henry, can you let me know that it's okay to play your video there? I would like to, looks interesting, but I'm not sure if you sent me that for my own consumption or for sharing here. We do have an Olympic flame for you, a little incongruous, but yes, a sign of keeping the flame burning of bonhomie in sport. Thanks, Henry. Yeah, so the spirit of sport, alive and well with the Olympic flame going through. Where were you? Were you in Italy? I think you were in Italy, weren't you, skiing? So here it is, the Olympic flame, everybody.
Arriva, lo vedete anche avanti, stanno solo facendo il cambio. Bravi ragazzi, bravo! Attenzione che parte il sudore, stiamo aspettando.
The best job there was being sat in the back of the van, was it not? And I thought for a terrible moment that hadn't been a successful cross lighting of the torch, but how excellent. And if you could make out the Italian, I think what she said to him was, excuse me, but could I bother you for a light? There you go, the Olympic torch making its way across Europe at the moment. It's a World Cup year, of course, is it not? And the Olympic flame clearly then is on a journey of at least a few years before it finds its destination, which is next in, what will it be, 2028? Where's that going to be? Where's that going to be? It's going to be an interesting World Cup, I've got to say, this year. The historical item from John this morning is the original charter document gifting the village of Pontelima from La Reina Dona Teresa. It's interesting reading. Let me find that then. And, oh, I see. There she is, a lovely picture of Donna Teresa, which I'll bring to your screen in just a moment. Saving that. And oh, okay, excellent stuff. Thank you. Anything like this, send it through 913-590-303. When we're in the thick of it, it's pretty good, isn't it, to have a little bit of a historical perspective on things. Just saving what you've sent me, John. And I think finally here, yes. Oh, a document from 1217. Extraordinary. Let me just share that or load it up so that you can see that. Thank you very much, John. Very thoughtful of you this morning, loading that onto the picture deck. Yeah, 913-590-303. Actually, here's a picture of a rainbow from you. Isn't that what we moved here for? Just dwell on that for a moment while I add John's other pickies here this morning of Donna Teresa gifting a town being gifted when you could do such things back in the day. We're living more in the time of taking places, aren't we? Rather than giving them, it would appear. But isn't that a beautiful rainbow there above the mountains? There she is, Donna Teresa. That's the original document there. Incredible. A little tassel on a bit of parchment as well. I wonder what the ink was that they would have used in those times. There's in Portuguese what's being said there, and a translation, I suspect here. Yeah, in the name of God and the undivided Trinity, I, the Queen Donna Teresa, me playing the part of Donna Teresa at the moment, daughter of King Afonso, greet you in the Lord. It is my good pleasure to make the aforementioned place of Pont Abilia, and I hereby decree and will and will that this shall have full force and firmness. Who doesn't like full force and firmness first thing in the morning? Forever and ever from this day, March. That's quite the proclamation, isn't it? Forever and ever. March the 4th, 1163. Which is that AD then 1125? I'm confused about that. I, the Queen, make a place for the men who want to live there, and the same term starts at the mouth of the Trebella, and from there at Pedra Rodala, and then goes up to Castro Doena. So there's no Doa, so there's no Doai, so there's no doubt here, and from there to Portela de Arca, and leads to Mirancelia, and there to Lima, from there to Lima. And if any person tries to violate this deed of mine, let him pay 6,000 soldos. Take that, you scallywag. And whoever harms the inhabitants of said Bila outside. So Bila Vila, there you go. That's why in the north, I think there is this, not confusion, but Villarreal is pronounced as Villarreal. Perhaps that's the origin. Set by locals, that is. Bila outside its term, let him pay 500 soldos. And if any person outside its term commits a serious crime and is not arrested there, let him go free. And if anyone harms the people who come to the fair from anywhere, both on the way and on the way back, he must pay 60 soldos. And those who live in the same town should pay 1 soldo each every year from their house and pay nothing from their little courts. Oh, okay, it's a bit of taxation, I think. And if anyone lives in this town and owns property outside the term, let them be cutados. Is that cut off? Foreigners, immigrants, and all of the ploughed land they work, they should pay the 3rd, and of the ploughed land they should pay the 5th. I, Queen Teresa, and my son, King Afonso, sign this charter in our own hands. I think that's the beginnings of finances right there, folks. Whoever's got this, we demand a bit of that, and whoever's got that, we demand a bit of this. I've got to keep the wheels of the monarchy and the state turning, the establishment. Deep state finances action right there for you from 1163. How about that? Thank you very much, John. Much appreciated. God blimey. I'm not a woman. You there, peasant. You there, old woman. I'm not an old woman. Oh, my goodness. They've been at it for a long time, have they not? Okay. Where did we get to in the chat? Sorry. Yeah, it's the cabin fever. It's the cabin fever. Thank you. That was a historical document then. The original charter document gifting the village of Pontelima from La Reina Donna Teresa. It's interesting reading. It is, isn't it? Strings attached. So I guess it was the other way of looking at that. You know, it's taxation, it's finances, and the early iterations thereof. It's also a protection racket, isn't it? You know, it's like, well, we'll protect these people and charge people who do bad things towards the people of this place all these soldos. And in return, obviously, we need a little bit of a tithe from all your hard work, you peasants. Winter Olympics starts. Oh, in Milan does the Winter Olympics happen every? I've got you now. So that happens. That coincides with the World Cup year, does it? It's the 2 years on the other side. Just heard from M. Mama Bear's okay. Okay, good to know. Hadn't heard from her. A bit concerned, but she's okay. As far as I can see, only Cadiz municipality has any adverse weather warnings, flooding in Spain. So on the whole, okay here. Thank you for that report from Spain, Dougie. Blooming cold and sleety here in Madrid. Only 3 degrees centigrade, rising to a maximum of 6. Thank you for that weather report. Actually, 25th of March, 11:25, after the adoption of the Latin calendar. Thank you. I read 60 saldos, not 6,000. But that's just me, I guess. My bad. No problem, Matty. Get your glasses on. Okay. Waited an hour, over in 30 seconds. Oh, if that's the answer, what's the question? Okay, let's play Henry's video now. The Olympic torch, obviously. What were you thinking? The fair she refers to is our local bi-weekly market, also supposed to be the oldest in Portugal, held continuously for over 900 years. Yes, Pontelima market on a Monday. You may have seen it. That's going to be a problem at the moment, isn't it, down by the river? What are they doing in the face of Leonardo and continued rainfall and possible flooding? How's your river looking there, John? Have you got a recent photo of that? A video then from Henry. I didn't think we'd be here this long this morning. Just wanted to get in and out with the information that helps. But we've been delightfully held up and sidetracked with wonderful information from all over, from Spain, from Ponte Lima. Thank you very much. It's lovely to check in and just know that everyone's okay. Who's checked in from the community? Thank you, Henry, for this. Now, do you want to do this, or shall I? That's a very strong, healthy jet. Are you ready? And who doesn't like a strong, healthy jet first thing in the morning? Quite extraordinary. The sound from up there as well, up above the reservoir. That's amazing. Thank you very much for that, Henry. Thank you for thinking of us. If it's safe to do so, great to receive your own video and images coming in from around the country to show where we're at, really. I don't see any point in us showing more or repeating pictures that have been on social media or on the Portuguese news. You can see those for yourself, and it's just depressing, isn't it, to keep looking at those all day long, and maybe to start the day in that way. Hopefully a positive, practical action that we can share and support here in the mornings as we continue our streaming every morning at 8 o'clock, and I'll stay with the weekends as well. Probably do next Saturday and Sunday, keeping you in connection with each other and with any useful news as well. So let's continue to do that. Here's some lovely news. Mum and baby settling well after surprising arrival early on Friday. Didn't expect me and my daughter would be delivering them. Isn't that amazing? You've delivered a baby. And Poppy, it sounded like she did amazingly well. So well done, all of you, and lots of love to you from Portugal. It's amazing, isn't it, how we have become connected with each other. And I was so delighted to see that news. Lots of love to you and your family. I think we're going to leave it there this morning. I don't think there's anything else I intended to share with you. Oh, apart from if you want to keep the conversation going, do so at the Portugal Club. Resources on preparedness. Everyone's a prepper now. And also the thread on useful information, requests for help, offers of support over there at the Portugal Club on that link as well. Exclusive here being shared with us. Ethan George, fantastic. We have decided on the name Ethan George, fantastic. Remember where you heard it first. Fantastic, wonderful news. 3 peas in the pod, beautiful news. Isn't that lovely? Great in these times to see new life and new hope. Absolutely wonderful. Welcome to the world, Ethan George. I'm so delighted, very moved to be able to share that message from you, Matty. Well, isn't it lovely to be able to say that? Welcome to the world. Yeah, we need big hearts and wonderful new life here in this world of ours. Good morning and congrats. Yes, stepping in with some congrats there. Look, the congratulations coming in to you. 4 peas in a pod. You're going to have to change that, I think. And congratulations from T-Duck as well. How lovely. Very moved by that news. Wonderful. And welcome to the world, little Ethan George there. Let's leave it there. Take care. Fica bem. Stay safe. Stay well. Boa sorte. And let's show Leonardo what we're made of. And we'll see you again tomorrow. Take care.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube